There was a flurry of excitement online last week when a Facebook user posted up pictures of an advert in this month's Wargames Illustrated. It was a Battlefront ad showing the upcoming Team Yankee British releases due out in December. Here's one of the ads. It says the new British book and card pack will be released in December 2019. The books are rebranded World War III Team Yankee, distancing the franchise from the original novel's narrative. There's also mention of new plastics, including the Challenger platoon and Warrior MICV platoons. No date is given for these, but I would assume these would become available early in the new year. The ad also mentions the upcoming Team Yankee version 2 rulebook slated for release at the same time. This is also rebranded with the new game title. A bundle deal will be on offer for the rulebook and the new British Starter Force box. Let's look at the box set, which has a separate ad of its own. The British Starter box is also listed for sale in December 2019 and contains 5 Challenger tanks, 2 Chieftain tanks, 2 Warrior MICV with Milan, 2 Scimitar, 4 Fox armoured cars, 2 MLRS rocket launchers and 2 Lynx helicopters. The box is listed as all plastic. This is a nice taster of the new and old kits. MLRS, Fox, Challenger and Warrior are all new. Having both Challenger and Chieftains in the box seems a bit odd. I'm not sure what force would have both. Pricing is listed as £70, €80 or $100. So that's about 5.2 million Australian dollars in the current economic climate. But joking aside, this is the same aggressive pricing we've seen in some of the D-Day sets, which makes them good value. It's also a good way to get a selection of the new vehicles to build and use. The ad also mentions a limited edition token set in the boxes at release. The ads direct you to the website for more information, but at the time of writing this script there just isn't any information or pre-orders to be had. That's part of the reason I'm making this video. I contacted Battlefront for more information, but there isn't anything they want to release at the moment, so I'm just working from what's in the ads. Keep in mind, Battlefront have previously said that the new Team Yankee books and releases don't change what's come before. Iron Maiden and all the unit cards for your existing British forces will remain valid. This new release adds new units and formations, advancing the timeline from 1985. Let's look at some of the new vehicles. FV 4030 Challenger 1 was a British tank which entered service in 1983. The tank was a development of the earlier Chieftain design, introducing a hydropneumatic suspension and composite armour. The characteristics of the laminate armour gives the Challenger turret its angular shape, contrasting with Chieftain's more rounded profile. TOGS, the Thermal Observation and Gunnery Site, gave the tank thermal imaging and computerised fire control. Challenger 1 saw action in the 1991 Gulf War, where they accounted for over 300 enemy tanks without sustaining any losses. Armed with the L11A5 120mm rifled gun, a Challenger 1 recorded the longest range tank-on-tank kill at 4,700 metres, about 2.9 miles. Challenger 1 was produced in several marks, with later marks adding additional side and skirt armour as well as up-armoured ammunition stowage. Replacement of this tank in the British Army by the Challenger 2 started in 1998 and was completed by 2001. The FV510 Warrior was Britain's answer to the infantry fighting vehicle question. Like the BMP and Bradley, the Warrior was an infantry carrier that also added a turret and gun. However, the British design didn't include firing ports for the infantry. British doctrine had the infantry fighting dismounted, with the IFV using its weapons in support. Warrior has a 3-man crew and transported an infantry section of 7 men. Infantry entry and exit was via a large rear door. The 2-man turret mounts a Raden 30mm cannon with a coaxial 7.62mm chain gun. Optics were initially passive infrared but were later upgraded to thermal sights. Mobility of the Warrior enabled the troops to keep pace with the Challenger tank, something the earlier FV432 APCs couldn't manage. Warrior has seen action in the Gulf War in 1991 as well as Bosnia and Afghanistan. Along with the upgraded optics, applique armour has also increased protection. Warrior continues in British service today, with upgrades planned to extend the design's life to 2040. FV721 Fox is a wheeled reconnaissance vehicle which replaced the Ferret scout car. About 200 were built. The vehicle mounted a 30mm cannon in a low-profile turret. The gun was manually fed with 3-round magazines. The turret also has a 7.62mm coaxial machine gun. Fox is a speedy and mobile vehicle often attached to armoured and mechanised infantry divisions in the reconnaissance role. A flotation screen can be quickly erected to cross water obstacles. Fox entered service in 1975 and was phased out of service by the mid-90s. Of all the new releases announced, I'm most excited to see this kit and how it will work on the table. Support options include the M270 multiple launch rocket system. While a mainstay of Warsaw Pact armies, rocket artillery was traditionally a secondary consideration to cannons in NATO forces. The M270 was a joint project between the US and several NATO nations. MLRS is a mobile system designed to shoot and then quickly relocate to avoid counter-battery fire. Computerized fire control systems enable each battery to fire while the launcher vehicles are widely dispersed. This also reduces vulnerability to return fire. The launch vehicle is based on the Bradley fighting vehicle chassis and has 12 rockets in two 6-rocket cells. It can fire a number of different rocket munitions, including dual-purpose improved conventional munition bomblets. Given the bigger payloads of the rockets over conventional artillery shells, MLRS can quickly saturate a target area with overwhelming indirect fire. In the early 2000s, a guided rocket was developed which has a range of over 60 kilometres. I would have expected the MLRS kit to most likely be resin and metal, but the advert says all plastic, so we'll just have to wait and see. Anyway, that's all I know about the upcoming British releases for Team Yankee. I'm pretty excited to see these come out. It would be nice if Battlefront would be a bit more forthcoming about these releases ahead of time, but what can you do? The new starter box looks like good value, but is a mix of old and new, potentially duplicating stuff for existing players. The mix of Challenger and Chieftain tanks seems odd. We'll have to wait for the new force diagrams to see how that's going to work. I'm looking forward to seeing these in December.